Hello,
And welcome to our podcast, Wine with
Shelley.
and Shelly.
We are two women passionate about supporting those affected by cancer. Our businesses are dedicated to providing resources and community for people navigating this challenging journey.
Whether you're a cancer survivor, caregiver, or just looking for information, we've got you covered.
On this podcast, we'll be diving into a wide range of topics, from the latest research and treatments to practical tips for coping with the emotional and physical challenges of cancer.
We'll also be sharing inspiring stories, interviewing experts, and exploring the latest trends in cancer care.
Join us as we navigate this journey together.
Let's get started.
Welcome back to Wine with Shelley and Shelly.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited to have you back. Hopefully you've enjoyed a few episodes before you found this one. But we have some pretty cool updates. Breathe Incorporated had an amazing turnout and wonderful event. It was the golf outing. Michelle, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, so our golf outing was June 1st. We had a tremendous turnout. We had 96 golfers and lots of compliments. I was really humbled by the positive feedback that we've had. And so we're ready to set up a date for next year. Excited about the resources that have come out of it, connections to people. And we also started a new campaign. That campaign is Designated Cancer Fund. So it is Leave Your Legacy Within Breathe, Inc. and Sparkling Survivor. And so you can donate X amount of dollars and then name that, designate your cancer, name that fund in honor of somebody who is currently on their cancer journey as well. And then those funds will be used just for people with that type of cancer.
Well, then they can be more specific. So if you do want to hone in or lean into, your heart is in pancreatic, that's where your funds will go, instead of it just being like anybody. You can really know that it's going into that specific. So a lot of times people think, oh, breast cancer, this. They always hear about breast cancer, which is rightfully so. There's a lot of people with breast cancer, but we do like to make sure that people know that if they have some funding, they want to go into a pancreatic cancer or prostate cancer, they can do that. And that's a really great way to do it. We're excited about that.
Very excited about that. And we'll feature their information or a story about how this came to be on our website with a picture, and just bring some life to it. And also Sparkling Survivor has packages. We can talk more about that in the future for people who, you just heard somebody was diagnosed with cancer, you're not quite sure what to do. Well, you can give them a beautiful support package through Sparkling Survivor as well. But without further ado, we do have a guest.
We do.
Stay tuned for more updates from us. But Shelley, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest?
We have Miss Rose Holland. We are so excited that you took the time to join us because, well, first of all, you tell us a little bit about the history before today that brought you to blogging.
So, I've blogged for a while for military families, particularly military spouse employment, because my husband retired from the Army a few years ago. What was it? 2022, October of 2022, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Kind of turned our life around in some ways for the good. Finished my treatment that January, and why I'm here is about 3 months later, reality hit me. I think, like so many of us, things go so fast at the beginning and during treatment that we don't really take it in. Well, 3 months later, I had reality hit. It's like I fell apart for a little bit, but I got something called Axillary Web Syndrome, better known as cording. And It is a side effect. Most people, it lasts less than 6 months. Yeah, I'm going on 2 years with it. So,
Right.
um,
And I think you didn't even know what that was going into all of that. Probably never
Well,
even got mentioned, I'm guessing.
actually, no. So I received my treatment through Mayo and La Crosse, who I will say everything was amazing there. I mean, I think that the thing that really touched me is I had to do an MRI biopsy, and you go in and out of that MRI machine. And there were two techs. I know there were two techs because one had cold hands and one had warm hands. And every time I was out, one of them put their hands on top of mine. I did not know I needed that. But it was like things like that. And they actually had me automatically meet with a physical therapist. And so the physical therapist talked to me about what to look for lymphedema, which I have a slight case. It was preclinical last year. This year, my OT is like, yeah, you've gone up a bit. You're clinical. But the cording, she prepared me for it. So when it happened, I called right away. They got me in that week and they got me referred to. At that time, I was still near La Crosse. It was before we moved because remember, cancer changed my life. So some of the things that happened post-cancer is we decided I was going to retire 2.5 years early so that we could become snowbirds. So we take our little trailer and go traveling from November till we have to be back by May 2nd because it's my grandson's birthday. So we have a lot of fun doing that, but it refocused us on, we've had these dreams. We've been planning for this for the past, we've been married 40 years. So we've been planning for this, probably about 30 of them, that we wanted to do this when we retired, and we did it. And we jumped in and we did it. And we love it. I'm so glad we did. But we sold our house that was in Toma and moved up to our cabin that we'd had for a long time. So we went from a very large house to less than 1,000 square feet, and did all sorts of, crazy stuff, but it's been awesome. So that's been the good side. And I've learned a lot because I've been dealing with the cording for so long. So I've learned a lot about it. I have an amazing OT way in northern Wisconsin in Eagle River. She actually got into it because one of her best friends got cording, or Axillary Web Syndrome. Everybody calls it cording because it feels like ropes or cords. And there was nobody up there to treat it. And so she's been treating it. She's continually going through training. She does, like, the place where she got certified, does periodic webinars, and she attends them on her own time and everything. It's awesome.
That is great. And that's a good point. I think that, with you having gone to Mayo, you did learn quite a bit just because it's a larger facility with a lot of resourcing. You start getting into the rural communities and they are just limited on what they might have for resourcing. I have to be honest in my case, I won't speak of where I went, but they did a good job as well. Felt like they did a great job. And then we went right to physical therapy without even knowing I had cording, but then cording did happen for me as well. And yet there's a lot of times I've been in the field and there's been people that didn't even know that was a thing. Should have been referred to physical therapy, maybe just initially, just to make sure they understand what that could look like, to get the exercises and understand how to manage it if they do see something, and how to have that conversation with their doctor. And that was the goal that we wanted to hear. Did you have something?
I do have a question, both of you. So excuse my ignorance, but I'm not familiar with cording. So can you help educate me and anyone else who might be listening who says, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
What's that look like?
So they call it cording because it truly feels like you have ropes. Like my first cording, it was under the armpit, and I felt like I had a string going down my armpit. If you feel like when I went in for my 6-month checkup with my oncologist, she's like, oh yeah, you definitely have cording. You can feel it, and it feels very different. It's not like a lump, it's like a long string or rope. My body loves to
kind
make cords.
It kind
Lost
of
you.
reminds me of a tendon, doesn't it? Didn't it, like when you felt it, it somewhat feels sort of like a tendon. So some people maybe wouldn't even recognize, or they'd be like, well, maybe I never noticed that, or, what's this new thing? But then they actually can sometimes get those to almost pop, and they separate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say there's different ways to treat it. I actually did an article for the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition, because I wanted to know more about it. Cording is the most common side effect of breast cancer treatment. However, it is the least studied, which was shocking to me. And they are really, there's a number of organizations that are really pushing it. The advantage when you're at a teaching hospital, when you're at a research hospital, a lot of times they do have those where you're automatically meeting with a physical or occupational therapist that is trained in lymphatic drainage, which is really the cording is due to your lymphatic fluid. But there are people, especially in rural areas, if you have a general oncologist, they may not have heard of that. A lot of physicians, they know about lymphedema, which is that swelling, but they don't know about the cording. And so I know my OT, because we are in a rural area, there's sometimes she sees patients and they haven't seen anybody for 2 years after their lymphedema and or cording.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm definitely taking something out of this already because I feel a little embarrassed. I've been working with patients on the resource side of things for over 10 years, and I have not heard anyone talking about this
Mm-hmm.
or didn't know that that was part of the issues that come along with lymphedema and somebody after.
And
Yeah,
it's
I remember noticing that as well, being an oncology nurse, and you wouldn't even have the women talking about it or the oncologist talking about it. That was a lot of the surgical side of things that maybe we just weren't hearing as much because we did a lot of the medical portion of things. But one of the things that I definitely was making sure to tell new survivors, hey, if you just had surgery, try to get a physical therapy appointment right away, even if you're not having issues.
Can you tell me, as someone who doesn't know much about cording, if I'm going through breast cancer treatment, or perhaps I'm through my treatment, what might I start feeling and what do I do about it?
I think the biggest thing that I felt was pulling. And what I mean by that, I would put out my arm or put up my arm and it would just pull. For a lot of people, they have limited movement, like they can't raise their arm all the way. It's not like a frozen shoulder, it's different. It's just pulling so hard. There's a lot of different, the other thing I have is I have a lot of discomfort. So like when we're driving, when Ford, by the way, puts out, you just pay for the shipping. And let me see if I can bring it over here in front of me. If it'll pull, it's not going to pull. Oh wait, maybe it will. So this is my amazing, we do not drive a Ford. This is my Ford seatbelt cover. It goes over my breast and it stops vibrations because vibrations really aggravate it for me. The other thing you'll feel is, like I said, you'll feel kind of it's like a rope or a tendon. So I have mine go all over. My OT, she goes, everybody has a pattern and your pattern is you have no pattern. Your body just likes to make cords. And so I have them all on my breast. I have them down my ribs. I have them on my arms, it's just crazy. There's a lot of different treatments for it. So one of the things when I wrote my article for the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition, I really wanted to know, okay, am I getting the best treatment? So that's part of why I did the research.
Right.
And again, most common side effect, least studied. But what they did find is you needed multiple types of therapy. So manipulation, stretching, there's a number of different types of therapy. My OT this past spring took a specialized training to use dry needling, which is similar to acupuncture, but a little bit different. And they'll actually put little electrodes on it to like kind of zap it a little. And this has been like, this area was so tight and it's still soft from after she did it. It's not so tight anymore. So that was really effective for me. What's effective for different people works differently. Like my first OT, she was really big into kind of twanging the cords. That really didn't work for me. It didn't break them up. For other people, that breaks them up really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, you have to find out what works for you, but you definitely need multiple types of therapy. They're looking at, you see, I wear my very pretty, and I will, Lymph Divas has really fun compression sleeves. It's a medical compression sleeve. And I have the gauntlet. But I started, my OT got me starting to wear those, and I wear them all the time. I wear them all day long, and then at night I don't. And it does, I can definitely tell when I don't wear them. I also have to wear kind of a compression bra. So I wear the She-Fit ones work for me really well. So I wear those, but it's having that tighter fit, particularly on those areas. And I like the She-Fit because they're really easy to adjust. So like if we're driving and it's really bothering me or we're on a bumpy road, I can just adjust that sucker and get it a little more contained so it's not, it doesn't hurt as much. The biggest challenge I have with cording, I'm very uncomfortable. It's not that I'm in pain. It's just uncomfortable. And I don't know how else to describe it.
You ever feel like there's maybe like an achy armpit?
Yes. Yeah, it's just like kind of achy, but it's not really pain. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, you just know there's something that's just an annoyance, really. But it's, like you said, it's not like you can't manage to get through life, but it is something that you do notice. Right. And you know it's there, but you're just like, okay, I can't quite get to it because it's so deep in your tissue, in your armpit, that you can't. It's not like you could massage it away like you could like a regular muscle strain or discomfort.
Right. This is caused by a side effect from surgery, from chemotherapy. Did they know the origin of it?
So I did not have chemo. So one of the things that they are finding, and I think this is really important, if you had all your lymph nodes removed, you are less likely to get cording or lymphedema. If you just had your axillary web nodes or axillary lymph nodes removed, you are more likely to get it. So I had my axillary nodes removed. So I had 3 nodes removed. And you're more likely to get it. It's not that you will, but you're more likely to, which is counterintuitive because
they used to remove like a whole bunch and tons of people were having more problems with lymphedema, but now we're taking maybe less nodes, but the node that they're taking is maybe causing more trouble with people getting the cording or the axillary web syndrome. So
and you're more likely to get lymphedema too. Yeah.
Yeah. If people want to do some more research about this and read more about it, do you have any recommendations about where they can go?
So, of course, I did write with the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition. Mayo is doing a lot on it right now. So I know the PA that is at the clinic in La Crosse, she's actually done a couple presentations. I know John Hopkins has some stuff. A lot of the research on cording is actually happening overseas. And again, the challenge is it doesn't really tell you a lot right now because it says, oh, we know this happens. We don't know why. Sure. We know it's probably related to lymph node removal, and you're more likely to have it if this. Right. And we know they can't say these are the better ways to treat it. They've done some, they just haven't studied it. And I think part of it is because so many people only have it for like up to 6 months. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, whereas lymphedema tends to be longer term.
Right. And lymphedema can show up at any point as well. I mean, there's been people that had breast cancer 15 plus years ago, and all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, they're sitting there with lymphedema. Courting seems to be more in the early stages if they're going to have it, versus yes, they'll have occasional that'll show up, but a lot of times it seems like the courting is more early on. Like you said, most of them probably can get manipulated and then they dissolve and they go away. But then there are some of those folks as yourself where it becomes like a long-term thing, and you just learn how to work with it. But knowing that there's other modalities out there, that it's having that conversation with your doctor, if your doctor doesn't say anything about physical therapy, the minute you're going to get any kind of breast surgery where you're getting lymph nodes removed, whether it's a mastectomy or whatever, lumpectomy and some nodes removed, say, if your doctor doesn't say something about physical therapy, say, I'd like to get in with physical therapy, because early detection and catching it and having them work with those is extremely important. And there's going to be some places that maybe you don't get that referral because your oncologist maybe doesn't know, or or maybe they just don't. They cover as many things as they can, and sometimes things just get flipped. But it's just a way for you to advocate for yourself if you're in that situation, and that's a big take home.
And Rose,
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. The earlier you can get treatment, the better. My occupational therapist, we talk a lot about this because I love to research and I love information. One of those kind of people that information is great. I love it. The more, the better. And so she's been talking that, right now she's starting to get more patients that are like, they're still in treatment and she's being able to see them, which is so important. Even if you are in treatment, getting in to see that physical or occupational, whoever is trained in that lymphatic massage, particularly in smaller communities, a lot of times the physical and occupational therapists are doing multiple things. When I was at Mayo and La Crosse, the physical therapist just did the breast cancer. That was all she did.
Right. And if you are in larger communities, you definitely should have those resources available to you. If you are in smaller communities and you're rural, there are a lot more small businesses that are popping up that are, going out on their own, and there is support there that's local. So if you don't really feel like you are able to drive to a bigger city or a bigger area, just know that you can look into that and find some resources potentially in wherever you are. It's just a matter of taking that extra effort to see if you could find those.
Rose, I want to make sure that everyone is able to find your blog. Can you tell us how to find you?
So if you go to the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition, to their website, they have a blog area, and you will see there's a lot of great blogs there. You'll also find a lot about what is going on legislation-wise. So there are regular trainings just to advocate with your legislators, and how do you talk to them about some of the laws that are coming up. And Gail's law is coming up right now. So there's a big push on talking to your legislatures about that, which is going to help with the cost of preventive mammograms.
Wow, wouldn't that be amazing?
So they go to the Wisconsin Breast Coalition and they put in your name.
Yep, they can search for my name, which is Rose Holland. So it's Rose like the flower, Holland like the country. I know my first name should be Tulip, right?
For sure. What were your parents thinking?
They didn't know I'd marry a Holland.
Well, wonderful. We appreciate all the information you shared.
So, Miss Rose, for all the listeners or the people that are watching, if we can help one person, we've won, right? So if you had in one sentence or in a couple sentences, looking back and one piece of advice, what do you think you would share with somebody after what you've experienced?
Advocate for yourself, ask questions, educate yourself. Early on, I said I'm an information hound. But Dr. Google is not your friend. So go to sites like one of my favorite sites was the Breast Cancer School for Patients. It's actually written by, it's done by a breast cancer surgeon. very good. The American Cancer Association has some great information, including a whole list of questions to ask your doctor. And I actually printed out that sheet. I brought it in, and it was great that the doctor actually, without me asking those, answered almost every single question. So don't be afraid to ask those questions, because if you don't share what you're feeling, they don't know. You know,
Could be educating the doctor in a rural community and know that many of them would take their own time to then go and do some research because they want to do what's best for their patients.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and I met with a new PA, and I had her feel so she understood what the courting was. So, because I think that's important. I think it's important that we advocate for ourselves. And even like last fall, I was early November, I had my mammogram. And of course, everybody has anxiety, right? And about 2 weeks before, I go, I know I'm being really flighty to my husband. I'm just already nervous about my mammogram. And he looked at me shocked. He goes, I am too, but I didn't want to say anything. So even advocate within your own family, share those feelings, let your significant other, your children, whoever, share with you too, because they're having big feelings too.
Yes.
And they're scared too.
Rose, we want to thank you for your time. This has been a very interesting subject. You certainly have educated me, and I will be able to pass this information on now. I would encourage everyone to go to the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition and read more about Rose and her blogging. We would love to have you back on the show. I know you have a wealth of other topics that you can cover as well.
Yes, absolutely. We really appreciate your time. And it's always great to hear from somebody who's walked the journey, but also telling the story, because that does give people hope. And that's one thing we love to do. We love to give some hope that, there is some not so good things, but look at you went and retired and you hit the road, Jack. And so that's right. Another wonderful empowerment for people to see and know that you are doing it. Just get out there and do the things you love to do. And that's also a really wonderful thing. So we appreciate your time, and we're super thankful for you joining us.
And
I want to thank you, and please check out Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition and check out Gail's Law. It's really important that our legislators understand the importance of this legislation. It's so important, those preventative mammograms. That's how I found my cancer. I know so many of us, that's how we found it, because we did that mammogram. I promised a friend of mine who had cancer that I would do my mammogram. And if I had not done that, I almost delayed it again. And thank God I didn't. So.
Right. Yes. We're so glad you didn't. And also for our audience, don't forget to go to breathing.org and Sparkling Survivor LLC.com and like us on Facebook.
Yeah, follow along. We're doing all sorts of fun things. Just did a hike. That's why I'm in my hiking gear today. We had a couple breast cancer survivors, and we took a beautiful hike. And they said, "Well, we didn't even know this was here. It's so pretty." So we always looking for someplace natural to go visit. So follow along on Facebook for Breathe Inc. and Sparkling Survivor LLC. We're always doing fun things for supporting others, and we hope to be able to find more people that are looking forward to some opportunities to thrive, not just survive.
Yeah. And last but not least, if you have a topic that you want to share, or if you have some resources you would like to share, make sure that you reach out to us. And also, always appreciate monetary donations.
It just helps us keep doing what we're doing. Plus, if you ever want to be a guest, or somebody who would be a great guest, have them reach out to either one of us. You can contact us easily on Facebook. That's probably an easy contact. Otherwise, one of our websites. You can find our email, our phone numbers. I mean, we are fine taking phone calls. It's kind of fun to get to know different people that have found us along the way anyways. So we hope to hear back from everybody and hope you're enjoying the listening and the videos, and hope you're gaining something and empowering yourself to, just like I said, thrive, not just survive. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Wine with Shelley
And Shelly.
We appreciate your support and listening to our amazing guest stories. This podcast is brought to you by
An oncology survivor nurse.
and an oncology social worker.
We both own organizations led by women who are making a real difference in the lives of cancer patients and their families. Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor LLC.
Remember, there are many ways to get involved and support the fight against cancer. You can donate to our organization, volunteer your time, or simply spread awareness about us.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast to share your cancer journey, a caregiver story, or even your business's supportive services, please reach out.
We'll be back soon with another inspiring episode. In the meantime, be sure to check out our websites and follow us on social media.
And remember, together
We can breathe.
and become sparkling survivors.